Yeah.
That's right. We're live, everybody. Happy Friday, February 19th, 2021, on the eve of the UFC's next event, which goes down in Las Vegas. 14 fights are now scheduled to take place, including the heavyweight main event, as you can see on the screen, between Curtis Blaydes and Derek Lewis, as we welcome you to the UFC Vegas 19 preview show here on MMAfighting.com. I am Mike Heck, being joined by Mr. José Youngs. Back-to-back video appearances for him after his victory on Between the Links yesterday evening. We have...
Let's not forget the A-side on Wednesday, too.
I was saying,
there's 3 days of Jose Youngs.
Back to back.
That's true. I'm already off to a bad start. I think I got some of the juju from Alex K. Lee, who you can blame for the late start to this broadcast. But he is the Prince of Positivity, so...
Wow. Just airing me out like that. Gosh.
How you doing,
I'm
buddy?
I'm doing good. We're gonna have a great time.
Yes.
We're talking all about today's weigh-ins. We're just talking about the weigh-ins for an hour. Can't wait.
And then yes, AK is still reeling from the weigh-ins. And then we have on the ones and twos, the man bringing up your questions and your thoughts in regard to tomorrow night's event, Mr. EKC Leydon. How are you, my man? Rockets sweatshirt, mustache looking proper. How we doing, my man?
I was in a great mood, but we were supposed to start at noon, and it is now 12:07. And you know, I have a high standard of professionalism at MMA fighting, and I don't know what happened. I mean, just
Hey guys, get it together. Get it together. We're on air now. Get it together. All right. Gosh.
All right. I'm focused.
Get it together, guys. Man,
right.
jeez.
What would you like to talk
First
about?
time?
AK birthday songs again?
First time? Yeah. People shout out your favorite alternative birthday songs that you would want sung during your birthday instead of the atrocious classic happy birthday song. Just let us know, and we're gonna get this changed someday.
Yes. Well, also make sure your comments are about the fights tomorrow, because I mean, we definitely want to talk about those. So while we wait for those to come in, AK, let's start fresh here, and I want to start with you because Jose was on Between the Links yesterday, like we said. We discussed the matchup between Derek Lewis and Curtis Blaydes. We know it is at stake in terms of rankings in this division. It's a big fight, but we know the story right now. We got Stipe Miocic versus Francis Ngannou fighting for the belt next month at UFC 260. John Jones is going to be waiting for the winner of that fight. This fight tomorrow, fun fight for sure, but it's not a title eliminator bout or really anything like that. So when you look at this matchup, what sticks out to you heading into tomorrow night?
I try not to put too much weight on like title eliminator stuff because again, we always say, even fights that are billed as title eliminators and like, oh, this is the number one contender bout, that can change with depending on so many other circumstances. Because again, by all rights, I mean, Blaydes it doesn't even need to be fighting again to earn a title shot. He's earned a title shot at Stipe like months ago. But again, we obviously understand the situation, of course, with Ngannou deserving that first crack and then John Jones' involvement. So, I mean, what stands out to me is I'm just so look, it's a Derek Lewis fight for one thing, and I'm just always so intrigued by, you know, there's that narrative of he can't, like, theoretically he shouldn't be able to beat wrestlers, right? But I mean, other than Cormier, it's like the guy always finds a way to get up, doesn't he? He always finds a way to get up and make things happen. So I am certainly leaning towards Blaydes, but and we'll get to our predictions later, our official predictions later, I'm sure. But I'm saying, like, God, you just can't count Lewis out. Like, on paper, this matchup seems so obvious to predict, but that's what makes it so intriguing to me. Is, you know, that's the reason they fight the fights.
What do you think, Casey? We didn't get your take on this fight and what could be at stake for these gentlemen. What are you looking at here?
Well, what do you mean, AK, that this fight's obvious who to pick? Why would you say what? What do you mean by that?
I mean, I'm saying for me, we'll get to that part. Yeah, my pick is pretty clear. I think I have to stick with my you know, what on paper makes sense to me. But again, the thing with Derek Lewis fights is they rarely go as they are on paper.
Yeah. What was the question again, Mike?
Just your thought on the matchup, and let me just throw this in there kind of to follow up. Curtis Blaydes, a minus 460 favorite heading into tomorrow night.
460, wow. Was that? Wow, okay. Yeah, I mean, I think it's the right matchup to make. I'm kind of going back and forth. I don't know if being in the small cage is good for Derek Lewis, because it's not like he's like a Volkov type guy who needs that big cage when he against a wrestler who just needs lots of space. So, because I just think Derek Lewis. I think this kind of, I want to say like Derek Lewis 2.0. Like, I think he has those back injuries behind him. I think he's actually finally truly focused on winning fights, and because I think he finally sees that, oh, if I win fights, I make more money. And that's one thing I've always appreciated about Derek Lewis. He never says just F the fans, but he just says, yeah, fans are cool and everything, but I'm here for money. I'm here to pay my bills, put a house over my head, and save and make money for my children and everything. So I've always liked that about him. I think he finally is like, oh, if I'm closer to the top, I will make a lot more money. So I think he is truly focused on just his athleticism and just being in shape and everything right now. And I like the fight. And to me, it's kind of a pick-em fight. Are we doing predictions yet? But I just think it's a great fight. I actually like it a lot.
Yeah, I mean, it's an interesting matchup. Like we said, Blaydes is a massive favorite heading into this one, close to a 5-1 favorite. But when it comes to Derek Lewis, like AK said, man is dangerous at all times. He just needs one moment, one shot to turn the tides. And it's crazy. Jose, we sort of talked about this on BTL. Blaydes has been, I guess, like nonchalant when it comes to kind of like Derek Lewis, how he's viewed by the fans, the public, and even Dana White. Sort of what James Krause was talking about on the preview show last week. A win is a win. A win gets you the second half of your paycheck. And it doesn't matter how you do it as long as that money hits your bank account. And Blaydes has had some dominant wins. He has a bunch of finishes too. Like 3 of his last 5 wins are stoppage wins. So, I mean, this whole thing that he just grinds out decisions every single fight is just not true. But this is a what have you done for me lately sport, and people have short memory. So do you put a lot of importance on Blaydes, not just getting a win tomorrow, but thoroughly dominating and probably stopping Derek Lewis to get fans excited for a potential title fight in his future? Or is it the same thing? Win is a win. Get that money, son.
Win is a win. Get that money. I think he needs one. Like, I don't think he needs any sort of type of victory in this, because it's the heavy. It's not like we're talking about lightweight, where it's like anyone in the top 10 could fight for a title, and like it's like, oh, who can? Remember, like Dana White's like, oh, you have to impress Habib to get a title shot. Oh, the win. Remember when they did that like top 5? They had like what was it? Shogun and Brandon Vera and Machida and Bader. And it was like, oh, the one who looks the most impressive gets the next title shot or something like that. Like, no. This is the heavyweight division, and the top 3 should maybe fight for the title right now. Curtis Blaydes just needs to keep winning. And he even said himself, like, if John Jones skips the line, he gets it, he earned it, he deserves it, which I agree. So Curtis Blaydes is just being realistic, which I think is a breath of fresh air. I mean, even Bilal Muhammad last week, with his call out of Lee Giuliani, he's like, I'm going to be realistic. Like, this is what I do for a job, and I'm not just going to try and call for a top 5 fight. And, well, in that case, he eventually got a top 2 fight just for being the company man. But no, Curtis Blaydes, win, take care of your family. It's the most important thing right now. And if he keeps winning, you can't deny him anymore. Like take the Max Holloway approach. Neil Dariush said the same thing. To me, it's refreshing. I get the big money fights because you are prize fighters and all that stuff. But if Curtis Blaydes just wants to go collect his big paycheck with a dominant win and take as little damage as possible, all power to him.
All right, AK, before we get to the questions, let the peeps kind of give their take on the storylines that they have in mind heading into this fight. What's your pick? You said this is pretty obvious the way you look at it. How does this go down tomorrow night?
I'll go Blaydes decision. I'm boring. I know. I'll go Blaydes decision. 5 rounds wrestling. I don't think it's going to be like a complete domination, like kind of like the -450 suggests. And in case you're wondering, the topology is 81%. Fan voting for Blaydes. Quite a few predicting TKO. It looks like 61% predicting Blaydes by KO, TKO. So I guess they're assuming takedown, ground and pound, wear Lewis down. I think Lewis will do better on the ground as usual than people expect. He always does better than they expect, and will make it to a decision. But I think it'll be a bit of a frustrating fight for him. Lots of moments where he tries to, get that offense going, and it's kind of, Blaydes kind of just one step ahead of him, stifling him, either, pushing him up against the fence, take key takedowns. So I don't know if Blaydes will be able to finish him, but I do think he'll win a convincing, if not dominant, decision.
Casey?
I know Derek Lewis, he's fought, has he fought 5 rounds before? I know he's been 5-round fights. Has he actually gone the distance in 5 rounds?
Ngannou.
5 rounds.
That was a
was-
5
Oh, was
rounds,
that only
though.
3? Was that only 3? Oh,
It felt like 5 rounds. Felt like 10, felt like 20 rounds.
I wish it was.
felt-
I wish it was, because I really feel like 2 more rounds they would have gotten going.
I would love that. But
He's gone into the
Good
4th
question.
round twice,
okay.
but
Actually,
he's never fought a 5th round.
Okay, he never actually got to the 5th round. I'm going to
And
upset
he's
here.
won
Oh,
and
sorry.
he's 1-1 in those fights where it's gone to the 4th round.
Who was it? I know he beat that.
Mark Hunt and then Shamil Abdur-Makhmamov. I don't know. I'm not even trying to
I got you.
Abdurrahimov.
There you go.
In Albany, New York, right? Was that?
Yeah.
I was there.
Oh yeah,
I was
so
there.
Was
That was the first. You were there?
Yeah.
That was the first
He's
UFC event I ever covered live, and that was the
grinding
main
away.
event. Derek Lewis lost the first 3 rounds of that fight, and then got the finish in the 4th. It was one of those kinds of fights.
And you know what? That was basically my prediction. I predict he'll be grinded out. He'll be ground out. Grinded out. Probably first couple of rounds and everything. But it's Derek Lewis, and this is over 5 rounds. And I don't think Curtis Blaydes has the cardio the cardio to match Derek Lewis, at least to hold him down on the ground for 5 rounds. And I think we're gonna get a late stoppage from Derek Lewis, and I think it's gonna be very exciting.
That's a wild pick, and I love it, and it could very well happen. Jose, what do you think?
4th round stoppage for Blaydes. I think. Like looking at his last few wins, like has he lost a round? Like officially, maybe one. Like I know, like the Volkov, I thought he swept those like 50-45. And I know there was a couple weird scores in there, but I just think Curtis Blaydes is unbelievable right now. Well, didn't he? What was the Justin Willis scorecards? Weren't those just asked like bizarre too? Like, were there a couple like 30-25s in there? I just think Curtis Blaydes is the 3rd best real heavyweight right now. Like, I'm not counting John Jones in that mix because he hasn't fought in the heavyweight division yet. I think Curtis Blaydes could be the 3rd best behind Stipe and Francis. He's looked unbelievable right now. He's knocked out Junior Dos Santos, and for all the talk we've been talking about Alistair Overeem getting better at wrestling because he's been training with Curtis Blaydes, I think the same thing could be said with Curtis Blaydes striking, training with Alistair Overeem. Like I just think Curtis Blaydes is phenomenal right now. The whole cardio situation with Curtis Blaydes, I just think he's another animal, and I'm going to pick Curtis Blaydes 4th round stoppage.
Yeah, it's hard. I mean, it's hard to go against Blaydes here. It really is. I do think, like Casey said, he is going to have to dig very deep at some point in this fight and kind of unblur his vision, because Lewis is a tough man to keep down. And once he gets back up, he unloads with thunder, and it just takes one to change things. So if you're going to take a shot at the betting window on this fight, it's Derek Lewis or pass, no doubt about it. But the pick is
100%.
the pick is Curtis Blaydes to get this thing done. In my
Curtis
opinion,
Blaydes
so.
has lost to one person in his life.
Yeah, the one person that Derek Lewis beat.
Derek Lewis has only beat one person.
MMA math never fails. Come on,
You say
man.
the only person Francis Ngannou Derek Lewis has beat?
Yeah, the guy. No,
The only guy? All right.
Well, the only guy that's beat. You know what I'm saying, man.
I don't.
The only guy that's beaten Curtis Blaydes lost to Derek Lewis.
I think you should, when this goes live, you could go back to listen how you worded it, and I was very confused by your statement, but I get what you're saying.
We all knew what you meant, Truck. We all knew what you meant.
That's right. There you go. Before we get to the questions, like we said, this is now
one thing I think that hasn't been talked about though, because I think cardio is gonna be such a key factor in this fight. Curtis Blaydes' cardio in particular. I really wonder how he recovered from COVID, and to see if that has any effects on his cardio. And we don't know the answer to that. And I just think I just really feel cardio is going to be the key factor if Curtis Blaydes will win this fight. I don't know. So I'm really curious about the COVID situation, and I'm hoping, even though I'm picking Lewis, I'm hoping that this is 100% the best Curtis Blaydes and not anything that actually got any long-term effects of the virus. So that's all.
Yep. That's a good point. Like we said, it is now a 14 fight card. It was 15 until the weigh-ins happened because Rafael Alves missed weight by 11 and a half pounds. I believe Mike Bond said this. This was the biggest. Was this the biggest weight miss in UFC history?
Yes.
Biggest, surpassed Anthony Rumble Johnson.
Sheesh. So he basically missed a full weight class above for his featherweight matchup with Pat Sabatini. He missed the lightweight limit.
I was doing the kind of the live updates for our Twitter account, and I saw that. And my first was I forgot that it was a featherweight fight, so I just tweeted out like, oh, he missed weight. He missed weight by 1.5 pounds. I'm like, oh, too bad. And then I went to go check sort of the official website, and I'm like, wait a minute, I'm like, because Sabatini had already weighed in. And I'm like, Sabatini, I'm like, he weighed in like 145.5. So I went back to double check, and I'm like, oh yeah, that's a featherweight bout. Then I assumed they made some sort of mistake, like they just read the scale wrong. But normally the UFC, sort of the UFC news account, they also tweet out the weights. They don't tweet out if something's not official. They almost always they tweet out 157.5, and I'm like, man, I guess he came in 157.5 for that featherweight bout, and it was, for me, in my mind, it was just chaos for a moment because I was sort of trying to keep up with the other weigh-ins. But obviously, all I want to know is what the hell happened with Alves. What's going to happen to the fight? Our own Guilherme Cruz, of course, spoke to him earlier this week. A story that was about moving back up in weight at some point, moving back up to lightweight. So not coincidentally, this kind of came around and became even more of a story Friday morning. So wow, 11.5 pounds, and of course the fight was canceled, thankfully.
What was Rumble? 11?
11 for middleweight. Yeah,
before Vitor.
His first fight at middleweight. So we all he was coming up from welterweight, and we're like, finally, you know what? We're like, an extra 15 pounds. His weigh-in issues finally behind him. Like, yeah, he was so tough.
I thought the answer was Kelvin. When Kelvin, I forgot about that Rumble fight. When Kelvin didn't Kelvin miss by like 10 pounds against Woodley?
No, not that much.
I don't know.
No, it was definitely doubled. It was definitely up there.
They fought
like yeah, because Woodley's like, fuck it, I'll fight. And they gave him the money back. Yeah. 100%. It was at least 9 or 10 pounds.
Do the research, AK.
I'll look it up. Yeah, we have computers. We live in the age of
UFC 183, Silva Diaz. I remember that.
I mean, technically 9 pounds with the 1 pound allowance, but yes, 180 for a 170-pound bout. So technically 9 pounds.
Was that the one you went to the hospital too? Kelvin going to the hospital?
No, I think
that was for the MSG card. Remember, we were supposed to fight Cowboy or Kennedy or something like that.
Cowboy. He was Cowboy.
Yeah.
All right.
So yes,
Alves. Congratulations, Alves. You now own the dubious record of 11 biggest weight miss, 11 and a half pounds.
And the crazy thing about the Gastelum Woodley one is Woodley gave Gastelum the money back. He's like, you can keep the fine. He's like, you get 20%. Like, Woodley just gave it back.
That was a close fight, right? Too.
It was a super close fight.
Yeah, it wasn't exciting. It was kind of
a lot of people.
It was kind of
it was an ant fight, and then the next time, and then Woodley took like 13, 14 months off, and then fought Robbie Lawler.
Oh yeah, Tyron Woodley. Remember
him? About to fight for
Alves did release a statement saying he suffered some sort of illness, which is why he couldn't cut weight. I'm not making excuses for the guy, but I think it's fair to say something went wrong beyond just he didn't want to. No one misses weight. He wouldn't have bothered to show up to the scale. Probably, honestly, should not have bothered. If he was actually ill, should not have bothered to show up. I don't know if he thought that Sabatini would still take the fight just because he showed up. I mean, I'm glad. I assume the UFC and the commission shut it down logically. So, but yeah, very strange circumstance. So I hope Alves is okay. I know I'm maybe being too sympathetic. But again, we don't know the whole story. We don't know the reason why. He says some sort of illness during.
What is wrong with being sympathetic? I feel like we have to apologize.
A lot, Casey. A lot.
I feel like
these people, our viewers, are vultures. They will pounce on any sign of weakness.
What's Alves' record? What's his record? I know a little about him, but I don't know, but he's never had I don't think he's had a history of this, and missing this is clearly. Yeah, he clearly had some sort of illness, injury coming into the fight. It didn't work out in the weight cut, and then the doctors, or the UFC staff, when they saw him weigh in backstage, they should have just said, "All right, it ain't happening. I'm sorry." And there's no use to really put him out there when you know the fight isn't gonna happen. That's just embarrassment, to be honest, to me.
Yeah. His record, by the 19-9, and never lost by decision. So all those losses, he was finished. So we were going to get something
So
exciting.
19-9. So yeah,
it's
almost
unfortunate.
30 fights, and he's made. I'm assuming he's
Yes.
made weight. So yeah, this clearly was an issue, and it kind of
Yes.
sucks
Yeah.
that if he had never got to the scale and the fight was scrapped from bad weight cut, But now since the UFC kind of put him out there in front of all the cameras, and now we have all these funny tweets, including me. Yeah.
And hopefully, of course, Sabatini, Pat Sabatini also receives. I know he'll probably get the well, we're going to rebook him soon to get him a fight. I hope he receives that. That does happen, and that he receives some sort of compensation for successfully weighing in. But we'll find out. So of course, I sympathize with Sabatini as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, and of course, Sabatini took this fight. Yeah, Sabatini took this fight on less than a week's notice to make his UFC debut. So, got a feel for him, former CFFC champion, and we will see what happens with those gentlemen moving forward. 3 other misses on the scale. UFC debut for Draco Rodriguez. He missed weight. Jared Gordon missed weight as well. Both had pretty significant misses. Their fights with Ayman Zahabi and Danny Chavez will move forward respectively. Both of those gentlemen, Rodriguez and Gordon, will forfeit 30% of their purses. And in the co-main event, we had a miss as well. Ketlin Vieira, she missed. She will forfeit 20% of her purse to Yana Kunitskaya. I believe she weighed in at 138, so she missed by a couple of pounds. So there you go. Some chaos, but we still have 14 fights on the card, and the one fight we lost was a weight cutting thing. So we'll see what happens. Some fun fights on this card, and let's see what the peeps have to say. Let's go to the peeps.
To the peeps.
Ketlin Vieira, by the way, picked the right day to miss weight, because normally someone misses weight for like the co-main event. That would be my headline for whatever our missed weight story. I didn't see anyone even mentioning that she missed weight on Twitter. It looks like people completely did not notice she missed weight.
Yeah.
1 out of 4 plus the Alves. I mean, people barely remember Draco Rodriguez missed by 4.5, and I'm like, there's our story. There's our story of the day. Nope. Nope. Nobody mentioning it.
Yeah, I'm really wondering why the UFC even sent out Alves to weigh in when they knew it wasn't a surprise because they weigh in behind the stage. No, UFC gonna UFC. Good for them. All right, questions.
Happy birthday, AK.
Thanks, Jose, for making people think it was my birthday. You know what? I'll take it. It's not my birthday. My birthday is November 4th, if anyone wants to try keep that November 4th, 1984. But thank you guys for that. Oh, Casey. It's not my birthday today, but I welcome any birthday.
Surprise!
I welcome any well wishes of any. Oh, wait, it is my birthday today. I stand corrected.
All right. Here we go.
Okay. All right.
Long time commenter.
Joseph Boza, should this card have been main evented by Ketlin Vieira versus Yana Kunitskaya? There is more on the line there than in the main event. Jose, this is kind of a question that's right up your alley. I know it's not title. We're not doing like multiple title fights here, but still, should this card have been main evented by Vieira and Kunitskaya, considering there's potential for more movement? And I don't know. What do you think?
No, because I think having the main event is relevant to the division too. I don't think either man, Derek Lewis or Curtis Blaydes, is going to fight for the title if they win on Saturday. But why not? Why can't they slot in for a fight, or why can't they be right there in the mix? So, if they had plus this was already scheduled to be a main event in the first place, and then they just moved it to another main event. So I like Ketlin Vieira and Yana Kunitskaya. So, but I just think Blaydes and Lewis is the proper headline for this card. Both are good fights. But if you want the marquee, if you view the main event as the marquee fight that'll get fans to tune in that you can put on the poster, then Blaydes Lewis is the one.
The thought of Derek Lewis making a post-fight speech of any kind is the draw for this card. I mean, even for the casual viewers, to try to top what he's done in the past, when that man has a live microphone in his face, magic ensues. AK, what are your thoughts on this?
I'm not sure I agree with the Joseph Boza. Thank you for the question. I'm not sure I agree with the premise of the question, because is there more on the line in that co-main event? I mean, they're both in the top 10, both coming off of 1 win each, which is good, I suppose. But Vieira will have won 5 of 6 or 6 of 7 or something if she wins, I guess. Kunitskaya, her last fight, beat Stoliarenko. That was okay. So she'll have won 4 of 5. I don't think I think Blaydes and Lewis are closer to a title shot than. I know we kind of discussed earlier why they might not be. There's kind of stuff they have to get through, but I don't know if a win here puts Vieira and Kunitskaya in the number one contender spot, or even on the leading the short list as a replacement. So no, I'll just answer the question straight up. No.
Yeah, I agree. No, I agree. Yeah, this is proper. This is a proper co-main event actually. And like, you know what? And we're just like, people say like Blaydes Lewis. It's just kind of to hold their place in line. We still don't know what's going on with John Jones. We don't know if even we don't know. We don't know anything about John Jones right now. He has contract negotiations. He has a lot of money issues right now at the UFC. So the winner of this fight could still be fighting for the the winner of the main event tomorrow could be fighting for the title next if the John Jones negotiations don't go proper. So yeah, definitely think there's more in the main event.
John Jones looking massive, absolutely massive right now. If you follow his Instagram, that dude is a beast.
I don't think that's a good. I don't think that's a good thing though.
If you're a big fan of a huge fist fighter running around the desert shooting guns with his dog, then yeah, John Jones' Instagram is right up your alley.
Touche.
Yeah, big John Jones. I feel it was gonna be a slower, more tired John Jones. So we'll see.
We will.
We will maybe.
Let's see.
Yeah.
Arlovski versus Aspinall picks. Will Aspinall freeze like Tanner Boser? AK, he's throwing a little salt on the Canadian wounds here. What are your thoughts?
Well deserved. It's tough. Our own Jed Meshew has been on a huge Arlovski high this week. He's been blowing me up with all these Arlovski facts, and it's great. He's just like, he just wants to celebrate Arlovski, which is fine. Like we don't look. I feel like we don't have to wait until a guy is like going to retire, or God forbid something else happens to them, that we do these retrospectives and kind of appreciate them. So I'm kind of glad that he's brought it up, because it's just amazing, Arlovski's career. I think he's third now. He'll be third in UFC appearances, behind Cowboy and Jim Miller, and most among heavyweights, I think, by a large margin now. And he just has a weird way of kind of mucking up some of these fights that we all like. Oh, Andrei Arlovski being loaded up for this prospect. I mean, like we just said, the very last fight with Boser. I mean, you could maybe blame Boser for letting that one get away from him, but look, Arlovski did his job. He got in there. He's a hard guy to fight. What was the last? Tied to Tuivasa. I remember that fight. He lost, but it was like a weird fight. It wasn't like a showcase fight for Tuivasa. There's a lot of Augustus Sakai was a close one. He's had a lot of weird fights. So of course I'm leaning, like I said, I'm a boring pick guy. I'm leaning towards Aspinall, and I would, if you ask me, would I bet on him? Like if I had to gun to my head, will Aspinall knock him out? Yeah, I think I'll go Aspinall by KO. But man, that Arlovski, he can still fight. He can still take a punch. And when it comes to these guys who are so much less experienced than him, he can expose a lot of their holes, a lot of their weaknesses. So don't be surprised if it does go to a decision. I'm going Aspinall by finish, but man, don't count out Pitbull. Do not count him out. That's gonna be a huge mistake.
Yeah, not much I can add to that. Anybody have anything to add to what AK just said?
I totally forgot.
Go ahead.
Arlovski rode a 5-fight losing streak in the UFC, and still is a main Carter. I think that's
is here.
Yeah, I mean, I think we've talked.
Look who he fought.
What don't matter? It's still it's still 5
five
fights. To lose 5 fights in a row in the UFC and still be around, it's actually kind of crazy. I don't know. Like who's lost 5 fights in a row and still came back?
Like, what do you mean came back?
Came for another fight. Like the UFC didn't release him.
Probably BJ Anderson.
Yeah.
Anderson,
BJ, yeah, for sure.
Yeah. I guess.
Johnny Hendricks probably had 1 million. Hector Lombard.
Hector Lombard fight. I'm like, no way.
Cowboy just went 5 winless, 5 in a row winless, but not a losing streak.
So I guess Andre's in that group of fighters. I expect Aspinall to whoop up on Arlovski.
Ooh.
I don't think. I think he's a better prospect. I like Tanner Boser a lot, but I think I've been very impressed with Aspinall. And if Aspinall loses, it won't be because he froze, because Andrei Arlovski just beat him. But is that kind of the perception that Tanner Boser is the better fighter than Arlovski, but he just kind of didn't show up that night? Is that or? Like,
I don't know.
If they fought 10 times, like how many times would you pick Arlovski over Bozer?
No, I don't know. See, I don't know if that's fair. I don't know if that's fair to Arlovski. Like I said, I
Me
think
neither.
Arlovski
Me neither. I don't think so either.
He has so much more experience than these guys that when they find he's a big step up. I know people view him as a like a mid-level gatekeeper. He's a big step up for a lot of these guys. When you look at who they Aspinall's the last minute replacement, Bado, and then who was the first guy? He beat Collier, who was barely in the UFC before fighting. So he's really that level of competition is so far below Arlovski, like it's crazy.
But he whooped up on that lower competition, so
he did, as he should.
Arlovski's place right now, if you look at the people who beat him, is similar to like the John Dodsons of the bantamweight division. Like if you beat John Dodson, you're probably top 5. But if you don't, you just have work to do. Like who is Arlovski lost to? Jairzinho, Sakai, Tuivasa, Tibura, Ngannou, Overeem, Barnett, Miocic. Like these are all at one point top 5 or fighting for a championship. And then he beats everyone else. Like John Dodson. Who's he lose to? Like Lineker, Jan, Demetrius Johnson, Marlon Moraes, and then he beats like the Nathaniel Woods of the world. Like those guys. Like it's the similar situation. Also, it's interesting that Arlovski, when he went on that long loser streak, his fight against Miocic, which was the one that kickstarted it, was a #1 contender fight. And then he went on that skid, which is why it's even more impressive that he's still here. But Hector Lombard, his last win in the UFC was against Jake Shields. And then he had a no contest for a failed drug for testing positive for something. And then he lost 6 in a row. So he had a 7-fight streak of not getting a win.
In the UFC? He lost
in the UFC.
Wow.
That's crazy.
He lost to, and 2 different weight classes because he beat Berkman, but then he got overturned to no contest. And then he got that wild fight against Magny. And that was his last fight at welterweight. Got crumpled by Hendo. Lost to Johnny Hendricks in 2017, and then lost to Anthony Smith, CB Dalloway, Talis Laitis, and then called it a day. And now he's selling hand wraps on Instagram.
Good for him. Good for him.
Someone, Jeremiah K in the comments also mentioned, technically Jeremy Stevens is on a 5-fight winless streak. If you count the first Yair Rodriguez no contest, the eye poke. So that is technically 5 bookings where he's not gone without a win. And he also has a UFC record of 15-17. 15-17.
Doesn't he have the most losses in UFC history?
Yep.
He does. And counting. 17.
Yeah, BJ Penn's last professional win was against Matt Hughes.
Yeah, knocked him out. Great memory.
Yeah, and then it was a draw with Fitch, and then he lost to everyone else.
The Fitch one, yeah, the main event in Sydney, yeah, I was there.
Has he been officially released? Has Dana White or the UFC said BJ Penn is no longer part of the roster? No, right?
He said he's not going to give him any more fights. I don't know if it's an official release though.
But he's still under contract. I have a feeling he's still under contract.
Penn was released from the promotion in early September after video evidence showing Penn fighting patrons in a bar in Hawaii.
You know what's funny is I forgot that because that's like 3 incidents ago. Like 3 BJ, right? That's so horrible. It's such a horrible thing to think of. But like I actually was. That's not the like when you said he was released. I was like, I was thinking something more recent. I'm like, oh right, that happened, and then all this other stuff happened. I don't know.
Thank you for the question, EO.
Thank you.
How did Francis beat Curtis Blaydes twice if his wrestling is so good? I think we know the answer to this
question.
Francis
Ngannou has the world record for the hardest punch in the history of mankind. That is why. And that's an actual thing that he had. I don't know if anyone's beat him, but like, remember he punched that machine and the Guinness Book of World Records presented him with a plaque? The hardest recorded punch.
I punch harder on that machine. I have photographic evidence. I'll show it to you later.
Oh my goodness! Throw it on the screen later.
You don't want to put it up on the screen?
I have to find it because
He'll find it.
My folder of record-breaking punches by Casey. I got to find that folder. But
look,
we'll stop the show.
Look,
All right, Casey, you have our attention. You're on the spot. Like, remove this question. Let's solely talk about how hard Casey punches.
on the no punch machine. A punch machine.
Look, Prince Vegeta, if anyone saw the fights, I mean, we know how it went. Look, your wrestling doesn't matter if you got smacked up once by Ngannou. It's they always say if you get hit a Brazilian jiu-jitsu black belt, when they get punched a couple of times, like drops them down to like brown belt, white belt. There has to be some equivalent for like Division 1 level wrestlers. And like when you're a Division 1 level wrestler, you get hit, you get dropped down. Like one good punch drops you down to like Division 3 practice squad or JUCO national champion, something like that. Like, because it really does. Well, the second fight was, how long was the second fight? The second Blaydes and Ngannou fight. It was even shorter than the first one, right? Like it was.
I think it was less than a minute. It was like 45 seconds or something like that.
I'm looking at 40, right on the dot, Jose. 45 seconds. The second one, the first one, okay, doctor stoppage.
That was a cut, right? Yeah, in Croatia.
Sure. So I guess there's a little more data to work with there. But Ngannou is just such a phenomenal athlete, and like honestly, his takedown defense isn't that bad. He hasn't had a chance to show it. But I watched the Miocic fight. Yeah, he got taken down and controlled a lot, but he was a load for Miocic to control. There's a reason Miocic couldn't finish that fight. That was all about control and sneaking in damage where you could. This guy is not easy to wrestle with. So anyone that thinks like, oh, just taking Ngannou down, believe me, many have tried and paid the price for it, and unfortunately, that's kind of what happened to Blaydes twice.
Oh, I can't. I gotta find this photo. God dang it.
We believe you, Casey. We believe you. We know it exists.
Next preview show, you're going live from the Inglewood Arcade where this machine is.
Yeah.
We're gonna stream the punch.
Well, wasn't the machine they punched? It wasn't like all calibrated with like science. And
No, it was the machine at the body armor. Is it body armor, Under Armour?
No,
whatever,
it was the machine
water.
at the PI. I thought it was the machine in the PI.
Oh, I'm talking about the machine that was at the body armor.
I don't care about that machine. I'm talking about when the Guinness Book of World Records came and handed him.
Well, Guinness Book of World Records got scared.
Oh.
They got scared.
Why?
Guinness is ducking you,
Casey?
Guinness is ducking you, Casey? Oh, okay. So
they got two reasons.
Whoa. All right, put those puppies away.
Like I even got tape on those fingers. I was punching so hard, I ripped the skin off.
Yo, Casey, we've got to monetize this video, right? We don't want to check off that box like features graphically violent content, and whoa, we gotta
got that tape on from throwing those Ashland Daly punches standing, which you just like it's like the backhand fist from like the bottom.
Ashland Daly, what a call out!
Wow,
I love
Ashland.
She was a fun interview. Yeah, she was a fun interview.
Yeah.
But I remember when she fought on Tough, like someone like when she was like trying to get close distance, she would throw punches like this. And it was like such a unique thing to watch in the octagon.
Rangefinder.
She was fun to watch. Fun fighter. All right, what else we got?
Let me go to the bottom now.
Sure, all the comments are like, "Let's see it, Casey. Let's see it."
Dang, yeah, okay. We got really sidetracked in the comments of my punching power. Damn it.
All right,
here we go.
Okay.
Ooh, big question.
Do you feel bad for Blaydes and other heavyweights for not being able to fight for the belt? Stipe held the belt for so long and he's not active. I feel like they should do a tournament Bellator style. I feel like you can make an argument for like every division in the UFC right now in 2021 they could do some kind of tournament, but this is not like, I mean, the whole thing with Stipe and DC took forever. It took a long time. There were injuries and
3 years.
Negotiations. It took 3 years. They held the division for 3
3
years.
They fought once a year for 3 years.
But this is not like a extremely long layoff for Stipe this time around. This is not like, I mean, especially for him, what's it, 9 months? August they fought? It was August, right?
Yes. Yeah.
So what, 7 months? That's not that bad. And then once you get Jones in there, if Stipe, I'll say this, if Stipe can defend against Ngannou and fight John Jones in 2021, you don't need a tournament. I think either way, Blaydes, if he wins, and then maybe wins one more, is not fighting for the belt until 2022 anyways, unless, like Casey said, he just slots in there somehow. Maybe there's an injury. Maybe Jones isn't ready, can't come to terms with the UFC for some reason. So it's just a tough position to be in. But Blaydes understands what's going on here. He said that John Jones is the man. He gets the shot. I get it. I understand. He's being realistic about everything. Like Jose said, it's kind of a breath of fresh air. But is there, like, let me ask you this, Jose. Is there any like legitimacy maybe to do a tournament, or is the UFC kind of on track here with DC out of the picture?
I think after Curtis Blaydes, there's really no, like, look at bantamweight. Like, we're having arguments over who should get the next title fight after that. Like, the only real argument in the heavyweight division is Curtis Blaydes. Yes, Cyril Gane and Jairzinho have to fight, and the winner of that maybe, but they still shouldn't leapfrog Curtis Blaydes. There's no clear, like after Curtis, who's the next in line? It's like 3, and what's Curtis Blaydes? 2, and Francis is 1. If Stipe's champion, like Jairzinho, Lewis, Volkov, gone, Overeem, like none of those guys right now should skip over Curtis Blaydes. So I don't think there's necessarily a need for a tournament. If anything, there could be a tournament to fight Curtis for a future number 1 contender spot, but I don't think Curtis Blaydes wants to sit out that long. If Francis, and then let's not forget, if Francis beats Stipe, and then John Jones goes, oh, I'm not ready, I got to put on more muscle or whatever. Why would they not do another rubber match with Francis and Stipe? Because then it would be 1-1. Like if Francis winning opens up the John Jones Francis fight, which is a huge money fight, but then it also opens up a rubber match with Stipe. He's already beaten Curtis Blaydes twice. He's already knocked out Jairzinho in like 14 seconds. So maybe then, but if Stipe wins, it's going to be Stipe John because that's a no-brainer. And then maybe the winner of Jairzinho and Gane versus Curtis Blaydes for the next title shot. But I don't think there needs to be an official, like, lightweight needs a tournament. Bad. Bantamweight probably, welterweight probably, but I don't think heavyweight is at that point right now.
What do you think, AK?
Well, I want to go back to the premise. So do you feel bad for Blaydes, other heavyweights? Yeah, of course. Of course. At the same time, it's hard to be critical of Stipe because look, the guy is we all know he has a handful of fights left in his career. He's being selective with them, and selective for the sake of his health. There's no reason for him to constantly rush back into action. He's the champ. He's champ. He has a lot of leverage. So this always kind of comes down to, I know we're a broken record with these things, but you would have seen Miocic defend his title more, and you would have seen other people, in the mix in the title picture more, if these guys were compensated properly. Okay, look, I'm not saying Miocic is going to fight 4 times a year, but certainly more than the 1 time a year that, like, as Jose pointed out, because it's not worth his while to defend his title that often. You got to remember, he is a firefighter. He has other business interests. I wouldn't be surprised if the UFC was not his number 1 source of income. I really would not be surprised.
Wow.
Yeah, I'll go that far. I know he's had some really nice close paydays. Yeah. You think that's too far? Firefighters aren't making 7 figures a year. but either way, my point stands is that people are always like, why doesn't Stipe fight more? Oh, why doesn't he fight? Why isn't he fighting here? Why isn't he fighting this guy now? And it's like, he has done a cost assessment in his mind. Is it worth his time? Is it worth his health? His personal time with his family. If he can afford once a year, that's what he's going to do. But let me tell you something. If the UFC had come along and said, here's $2 million to fight Curtis Blaydes, Stipe would have said yes in a second. He would have said, yeah, $2 million for Curtis. Sign me up. I'll do it. Of course, I'm the champion. I'll do it. But it's just not worth his time. So I do feel bad for his challenges. I do wish he defend the title more. I'm sure when people look back at the legacy of Stipe, they're going to point out like, oh my gosh, like he only defended against he fought the same guy 3 times. He only fought Francis once. Oh, he's going to fight Francis twice now. But if he'd only fought Francis once, they would have criticized that. Maybe he never fights Blaydes, all this stuff. But it's like, again, if it's not worth his time, there's no reason for him to just line up title fights just because the UFC wants him to, and sadly, just because necessarily we want him to. But yeah, so it's certainly a more complicated issue than just is so and so the holding up the line, is the title itself kind of holding up the line and pay fighters more. That's the
if you're gonna complain, if people are gonna complain about Stipe, then they can't look at Cain Velasquez's run with like rose-colored goggles because he fought 2 people in like 4 years. It was Junior, Bigfoot, Junior, Bigfoot, Junior, Bigfoot, Lucifer Doom, or something like that. So, like, can't be picky when it comes to who you're complaining about.
If I was Curtis Blaydes, I would love a tournament.
Sure.
To me, that's the only way he'll get a title shot.
Yeah.
I'm just...
Plus, tournaments rule. They're rule. They're
fun. Like, if they said, we're
style.
doing a heavyweight tournament, sign me up. Pride style.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, I know.
K1 style. I want K1 with the giant bracket and the ping pong balls and everything.
Yes. It's so much fun.
I appreciate the term Bellator style. I've never actually Bellator style. I like that. Update. Are we ready?
Yeah, hit me.
I know what's coming.
Well, we are all waiting. Wow.
Whoa.
That is video. It wasn't not even close. Not even
Francis in a full 3-piece suit.
Casey, what are you wearing?
What am I wearing?
Yeah, what shirt is that?
Oh, a Metallica shirt but that
I
says
think to make this fair, either Francis needs to wear a Metallica shirt or or Casey needs to wear a 3-piece suit.
Oh,
One of the two.
That's the rematch. That's the rematch.
Oh, the rematch.
Yeah.
I feel like this fight is only in your head. Francis, like, what are they talking about?
Oh, I'm sure if Francis sees this, he will be upset.
Also, was that like how you've probably lost a ton of weight?
Yeah, so I'm about 25 pounds heavier in this. So
yeah, so you're gonna have to bulk back up to 20. Francis is gonna have to meet you at that same weight, lose all of his muscle. It's only fair.
All right.
Or you can or you can bulk up to Francis's weight, Casey. Either way.
No, Casey's more lean, has probably even more power now.
Yeah, now I'm throwing combos now. That was just one shot.
Yeah, exactly. That was the one. Now he's like Joanna Jacek. He's killing you with 1,000 cuts now.
Like, and then calf kick. Bah.
Oh my goodness.
All right, so we can.
But that's the proof. That's the proof. Hey, people screenshot that.
Dust out your 3-piece suit and punch the bag.
Yeah.
Yes.
Screenshot that, please. People at Francis Ngannou on Twitter. I want you guys to spam his Twitter account with that picture.
Oh God.
And hashtag he fears Casey, something like that. You guys come up. You guys are creative. You guys come up with
and then mail Francis that Metallica shirt. It looks like Ride the Lightning. All right.
Well, I don't think you're heavyweight. So Matrixia, I think the real question is pound for pound, number one.
Pound for pound, yeah.
And it's not even close.
Yeah, I'm actually cutting the lightweight right now. Honestly.
Oh my goodness.
I'm actually going to lightweight. Yeah. So.
You're bringing that power to 155?
Calf kicks, baby.
Which makes you wonder just how good is Aaron Pico.
There you go.
He did throw me around, yes.
Because Aaron Pico basically just drowned Casey outside of water.
Yeah. After this pandemic, if you're watching at home, you see me on the street, I'll show you the Aaron Pico throwing me around.
If you see Casey on the street, just try to fight him. That's how it works.
Yeah, I got to use these deadly skills some way. So
you know how DC says whenever he sees a Russian, he just immediately starts to wrestle him.
Sorry.
Just do that when you see Casey. Just run up to him and double underhooks immediately. Don't care if the dog is there. Don't care if he's with Esther. Don't care if he's shooting video. Just run up, double underhook. Dude. And Casey's like, "What the hell's happening?"
I was like, and then I'm all like digging in, like pummeling. Yeah, just like, I can't hug a person now. It sucks. I can't just, yeah. I just want to dig in. all right.
We'll do maybe one more, and then we'll do our under the radar.
Yeah. Okay.
Do our under the radar picks.
The Brad Riddell Gillespie, is that a fight that got announced?
Yeah, buddy.
Oh, dang. Okay.
That is done for March 20th.
What is that? Fight night or pay-per-view? What is that?
Night.
Yeah.
Fight night?
Fight night.
That is
that's the Holland Brunson card.
Cool.
Yep.
Cool. All right.
So the whole city kickboxing team gets these big fights.
I think we
we
answered this though, right? Did we already answer this?
If Francis beats Miocic, do you think UFC will make the third fight right away or not at all?
No, it'll happen. It won't happen right away. Like if Francis wins, John Jones Francis is such a big fight.
I think it depends on negotiations of John. I think they're gonna.
Yeah,
to me, they're gonna calculate estimated pay-per-view buys for each one versus what John wants to make. So, yeah. I would think that's the backup. If the UFC can't come to terms with John, then it goes to Stipe. I think that's
maybe. And then we got Blaydes too, so or potentially, or maybe Derek Lewis. We'll see. All depends on what happens tomorrow.
Ooh, Francis Derek Lewis for the title,
for the belt. Oh man.
Where does Brock Lesnar factor into all this? That's my question. Is Brock Lesnar? What's come on? Brock Lesnar's out there, right?
That's where
he's out there, right?
Oh, here.
I'm just saying.
I vividly remember making a graphic that said Brock Lesnar retires. We're not going to talk about it.
Do you agree with On the Line Sharps that Minner wins early, but Rosa wins if it goes past a round and a half? It's an interesting fight. It's a really interesting fight. And there's a little bit of heat between these two guys. Rosa said some stuff at the virtual media day. It all got back to Minner. He wasn't too pleased with that. Kind of took a dump on Rosa's credentials and the strength of schedule. And Minner's had 1 million fights. So, yeah, I mean, that's a fun one. Yeah, I mean, I
Casey,
don't
can you
disagree.
spell Derek Minner's name?
That's not how you spell it?
No, can you spell Derek Minner's first name?
Oh, it's like got way too many letters in it.
It's so dumb. It's like Dwayne Wade's first name. Like, just,
Yeah,
come on, man.
It's just like,
what are
yeah.
you doing?
What? It's not that bad. What are you guys talking about?
It's so weird.
It's not that.
Have you ever seen
not that weird.
seen a name Darrick? Like, no,
Yeah,
come on.
I'm just saying.
spells
Phonetically, you
Derek
would
like
still
that?
know. You would still know it's Derek, though. It's not like it's not like you
Yeah,
know
that's
that
like the fourth option.
Rick.
Darrick.
That's like the fourth
Rick
option.
Vinner.
of how to spell.
Darrick.
It's
Darrick.
not that. It's not that.
Is it Darrick? Is it Darrick or is it still pronounced Derek?
Well, now it is. Well, now I
Derek.
can get that out of my head.
Darrick?
Derek.
All right. Did we answer the question, or did we just talk about his name for the whole
Definitely
time?
did that. We definitely just talked about his name.
I don't disagree with that. But Rosa can win. I mean, Rosa's got really good ground skills. So if he gets us to the ground, he could get a submission early in the fight too. But yeah, I would say the longer the fight goes, Rosa turns it on late in fights, especially if it's in Boston.
Does Charles Rosa have more wins, or does Derek Minner have more losses than Rosa has wins? Because I know Derek Minner has like double-digit losses, right?
I'm not looking
He's
at
like
it right now. I
20,
will.
Yeah, he's 25 and 11.
I would say it's close.
It's
Yeah,
close.
I would say it's close. Let's see. No. Rosa has 13 wins. Minner has 11 losses.
Wow.
As Charles
Charles Rosa's losses are like, who's he lost to? Like Dennis Seaver, Yair, Bryce Mitchell, and Shane Burgos. Is that the other one?
Burgos, yeah.
Like pretty much losing to like violence and then beating everyone else.
Sean Soriano.
Scott,
Oh, shout out to Sean Soriano, Rhode Island Pride.
I didn't realize Rosa's
Dude,
one of
it's
those.
great.
Rosa's one of those
it's
win loss. His whole
And
UFC
look at
run.
all of his wins before Kevin Aguilar. What do they all have in common, Casey? In the
Armbar.
UFC. No. Where they
There's
all
two
take
things.
place? Where they all take place?
Oh, they all Boston cards?
All Boston. His win against Kevin Aguilar was his first win in the UFC outside of Boston.
And all three of his opponents, New England guys. Sean Soriano, Kyle Bokniak, and Manny Bermudez, all New England guys. Massachusetts, Rhode Island.
Last minute.
That's true.
Like,
Yep, took it on like less than a week's notice. Yeah.
You know what though? For Darrick Minner,
don't stop.
I didn't realize this, but Charles Rose is a bit of a kind of a gatekeeper, a little top 15 gatekeeper. Because look who he's lost to.
I wouldn't even say top 15.
Well,
I would say like top 20.
Well, at the time, Dennis Seaver was a top 10 guy. Yair is top 5. Shane Burgos top 10. Bryce Mitchell's top 10.
Not when they fought, though. Not when they fought. Like Rosa Yair. Was that Yair's first fight off the Ultimate Fighter? Like his first fight in Mexico?
Yeah, I know, but that's what I mean. Like these, like, so when Darrick Minner wins, he won't be top 10 immediately. But like, if you beat a guy like Rosa, then the sky's
was his fight against Dennis Seaver was last minute too, right? Like his debut. Like it was like Hamburg or Stockholm or Prague or something like that, and he took it on like super last minute too.
You know what though?
So
that was in 2014. No one should know this.
Oh.
No one should know this on top of their head.
My fault.
Yeah.
I just want to say to Scott McCrate, excellent question. But by the way, my advice of anything related to betting, I would say, do not bet on MMA. Do not bet on MMA. I cannot stress this enough. I tweeted right after the Vieira Anthony Hernandez upset that I said never bet on MMA. And I immediately had like 4 or 5 people like show me their betting slips, like, oh, I bet on Hernandez. I'm so smart. I'm like, congratulations. You're like 5 people out of like probably like 50 people that ended up getting like their legs broken because in other situations,
no one shows the winning.
Like,
no one shows the losing.
Yeah. They don't have fingers to tweet with after they get a losing bet. All right, so I never see those ones. But I mean, congratulations to everyone who won. But I wouldn't have put any money on that outcome. That was friggin' what. Even though we all predicted it in the preview show, still, I wouldn't have bet on it.
Rosa nearly a 2-1 favorite in this fight, minus 185 right now. So we'll see what happens there. Eddie Wineland. Eddie Wineland is fighting tomorrow. He's fighting Sexy Mexi John Castaneda, former Combate America's bantamweight champion. What do you think, Jose? Is this is this a cut fight for Eddie Wineland if he's not victorious against John Castaneda tomorrow?
It might be let's call it a career moment for Eddie Wineland. Like he might not fight again, period, depending on how he looks. Like if he's super competitive and because Eddie Wineland's also taking like big breaks in his career too. So if he doesn't, like he's at the point where if he doesn't want to fight and he hangs it up, he has nothing to hang his head down on his career. Like he's fought the WEC vet, like former WEC champ, has fought the who's who in that division. So if Eddie Wineland loses bad like he did against Sugar Sean and he decides to ride off into the sunset, I wouldn't be surprised. But he's had a hell of a career. So I think it might not be this conversation. Would he get cut? He might just retire, but he also might win too. So I don't want to write him off just yet.
First fight, 2003. That was his first pro fight, 2003. Jeez. No,
I think Sean O'Malley was like 10 when Eddie Wineland made his debut.
Yeah, we talked about Arlovski. He fought in the 90s and stuff. Like, dude, man, guys like Wineland, man, holy moly. Yeah, you're right. I think it depends how he loses.
You look at, I think early, because I looked at Eddie Wineland's career before he fought Sugar Sean. Like there was a point where he was under 500 early in his career, and then he rattled off like 12 or 11 wins in a row or something crazy like that to get into the WC. So to start off your early career in the early 2000s when MMA was not this big, viable, booming market, go under 500 and then stick with it and win 10 in a row on the regional scene just to get in the WC. Eddie Wineland is the man. Love that. I love watching.
Fought for a UFC title. Fought for a UFC title. Fought Barao.
Fought Henan Barao, the interim title,
which was essentially the undisputed title. At the time, it was essentially the undisputed title. Right, Cruz up, but but you're right, technically interim title.
And I still wasn't happy with that stoppage in that fight. I know the little spinning kick looked great and everything, but I thought Wineland deserved a little more time by the ref. But it is what it is.
Jeremiah, I actually do think that if he does not retire, if he loses but decides not to retire, I do think that he will get cut from the UFC. So I'm leaning a little more towards if he doesn't retire, the decision might be out of his hands as far as his UFC days go. Sorry, Casey, I hate to hijack him, but I do have to shout out Mocked in the comments for I got to give him a Duval. So thank you, Mocked, for the Duval support. He said he's seeing in other live chats. It's taking over the nation. And Ron Willie asking, what's my birthday song? I think if I had to pick a snippet, I'd like to change it every year, but if I had to pick one, I would take the chorus from "Always Be My Baby" by Mariah Carey, for people to sing, just that section.
Can you sing it for me?
And the dude, I'm not gonna sing it right now.
Why not?
It's a Mariah song. You gotta treat the song with respect. I'll sing this as some random other ditty, but "Always Be My Baby," come on, man. You gotta treat that song with respect. But there's the do parts after. So if I were to take that snippet, I would use that and replace the birthday song.
Can you give me just a couple of beats? Just a little bit. Please.
You're really putting me on the spot, Casey.
Please.
I know I'm a beautiful singer, but I'm not. I feel unprepared at the moment.
Come on.
I feel unprepared for
We're getting lots of comments for it.
Well, you know what? You're lying. I can see them, but you know what? We are live. What's the? I'll have to look up the. Oh no, I don't need the lyrics. You'll always be my baby. You know that song. You know the song. Yeah.
Don't make me
start
singing.
Please. Oh, Mike, join in. But I'm saying, take some of that snippet, have people sing that instead of the birthday song. I'd be a happy boy.
Wineland's a bare knuckle.
Oh boy, it makes too much sense, doesn't it?
I like it.
Leonard Garcia's headlining the next card.
Dude, Eddie Wineland versus Jason Knight. Yeah, I'm down.
It could happen.
Yes.
That makes a lot of sense. Oh, and the world of BKFC, anything. It's the land of dreams.
There you go.
Thank you. Yes, Mock Duval, sweeping the nation.
I think that's all we got really for questions. Even though there's 2,000 million fights, it seems to be focused. A lot of focus on the main event. Wow. Really.
Minus one now. -1.
Yeah, -1.
All right. Real quick, AK, under the radar fight, fighter, or storyline?
I mean, I'm gonna say Nightland were every time, and I actually really like the style. I actually really like the style matchup with Arosa too. Arosa is he's one of those. He's unique. I feel like anyone watching Julian Arosa for the first time is kind of he's gonna in the mix. This fight is, I think, positioned right in the middle of the prelims, I think if you're like someone who's kind of like casually watching, you kind of go through and there's some good fights before that too, but you would see Julian Erosa and be like, man, this guy fights like I don't see like a very distinct style. And then you just have Landwehr, who's just a complete berserker. So I don't know whose fight it's going to be. I don't know if it's Landwehr who's going to turn into like the kind of brawl that he loves, or if he's going to kind of get caught up in like Erosa's like a little more tricky game and have to figure that out. Either way, I think tactically it's like a really interesting fight to watch and could turn into like a legitimate fight of the night. Love that.
Jose?
Luis Pena, Drakkar Klose, man. Drakkar Klose is flies the Arizona flag like few else do out here in the Southwest, and Luis Pena is probably one of the more unique individuals you'll just interact with. Even like, I'm not even talking about his fighting style. Like, he's such an interesting man. He's a good interview. He's kind of taken this violent Bob Ross persona and kind of just ran with it. So I've interviewed him, and he's like, people think my name is Bob. Like, they don't know my real name. And the best nicknames are the ones where people don't even know your real name. So Luis Pena, Drakkar Klose, I think it's a fun one. We talk a lot about lightweight being so fun right now, and I just think that's an interesting fight for where they're both at in their careers.
Yep, good on Luis Pena taking this fight on a little over a week's notice. I think it's like 8 days' notice, replacing Jai Herbert, who couldn't make it. COVID-19, I believe. I believe that was the case, and he
Luis
couldn't get
Pena is
cleared.
like Luis Pena, who's he lost to? Trezano, Worthy, and then who's he have somewhere in there? I know we beat Wyman, and I know we beat Steven Peterson.
Wait,
Steve Garcia.
Who did he lose to? Was it Favola?
No, he got. Oh yeah, he got. It was a split decision.
That weird. Yeah, but Favola is awesome too. So he's only losing to they always match him up with these prospect fights, and he's always the one that comes out on the wrong end. So yeah, Luis Pena is fun. I think if Drakkar Klose lost, like, what was his last fight against Dariush? Like last March?
Yep.
This is his first pandemic fight. Like, fun fight for both of them where they're at in their career.
I like it. I'm excited to see Casey O'Neill in the UFC. Very excited to see her. She's fighting Shauna Dobson. Another opportunity for Shauna Dobson to spoil a prospect's rise. Casey O'Neill is a savage. This woman is an absolute killer. So I'm really looking forward to that fight. Shauna's looking pretty good. Ever since going over to Elevation Fight Team, her confidence continues to rise. Of course, she's coming off that win over Maria Agapova, which was the biggest upset. I think it's the biggest betting upset in UFC history, if memory serves it correctly. It's right up there. But Casey O'Neill, man, really excited to see how her style transitions to the UFC. She is a murderer.
I know nothing. I know nothing about her. How did you find out? How'd you find out about her? She's only fought overseas, right?
I've been watching her for a little while now. She's just a savage, absolute killer.
That's cool.
She got a big finish in her last fight. It was kind of like that big test to see if she was going to get signed, and she did, and she got a stiff test tomorrow. So I really like that fight. I think that should be a lot of fun. Casey, do you have an under the radar fighter storyline before we wrap this bad boy up?
Phil Megatron Halls, he's back.
There you go.
I'm telling you, man. If his head's on straight, woo, that he, like this could be his year. This could be his year. We'll see if there's been a lot of hype behind him. It took him a while to kind of get everything together, man. But did we ever find out what happened with his last fight? How it got dropped out last second and now it's here? Was it an injury? Was it COVID? You know? Remember, like, he was supposed to fight just like a month ago or a month and a half ago, and it was one like during the fight week. Is anyone? But whatever, he made weight. He made weight.
Now, so
he's there now. Always excited to see Phil Haas, and that's my that's one I'm excited to see.
Look, it looks like Haas got some sort of minor injury on Haas' side, I think.
Okay, I wasn't sure if it was.
Nothing serious, obviously, because his back got rebooked. Yeah.
Yep, good test right there. That's on the main card.
Don't sleep on Imavov. Don't sleep on Imavov.
Oh, Phil Haas.
Right.
Phil Haas is gonna be sleeping. Right. Phil Haas is gonna sleep him.
Oh.
Ooh.
Who knows? I don't know.
Yeah.
We'll see.
I mean, if he goes to the Casey Leydon School of Punching Power, then that is a very viable option. I mean, you've seen the numbers.
Did you get scared, AK? Watch.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh. Guys, it's so real.
Speed.
Yeah.
Gosh, the technology.
All right, so prelims I don't know when the prelims start. I don't know if we're losing the fight, push it back. But hopefully we just keep things where they're at. 4:30 Eastern time. We'll let you know, and then we'll do our little pre-fight show 30 minutes before that happens. Main card: Aspinall versus Arlovski, Phil Haas versus Nasruddin Imavov, Chris Daukaus, a 2-1 favorite over Alexei Oleinik. That should be a fun fight. Derek Mitter versus Charles Rosa, and then we got Ketlin Vieira, big favorite over Yana Kunitskaya, and then Curtis Blaydes versus Derek Lewis in the main event. Curtis Blaydes is a big favorite for that one. But we'll talk all about it tomorrow, 30 minutes before, and then we'll have you covered throughout the event, post-fight show after. You know how it works. So thank you for watching, everybody. Hope you're ready for UFC Vegas 19. For AK, Jose, the powerful Casey Leydon, I am Mike Heck. Good night, everybody. We'll see you tomorrow.
Happy birthday, AK.